The pituitary having anterior part and the posterior part. So anterior lobe and the posterior lobe having different developmental origin. The anterior lobe, it is going to derive from the surface ectoderm, from the roof of the stomodium, and the posterior pituitary, it is derived from the neuroectoderm, from the diencephalon. This anterior lobe of the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland, it is a surface ectodermal in origin, and it is derived from the roof of the stomodium as the Rathke's pouch. And sometimes occasionally this Rathke pouch may remain persistent in some individual, and that will persist as the interglandular cleft. The posterior lobe, it is derived from the neuroectoderm, and it is the continuation of the diencephalon. Now, as we know, the anterior pituitary and posterior pituitary both are different as far as the histology is also concerned. So microanatomy, we are not going to learn the microanatomy in full detail right now, but we are going to just superficially revise the histology of the pituitary gland. So anterior pituitary, anterior lobe, it is derived from the surface ectoderm, and it is also named as the adenohypophysis, and it contains most of the cells of the pituitary gland. And this anterior pituitary having two types of cells. Some type of the cells do not have granules, and these are called as the chromophobes, and some cells having granules within it, and these are called as the chromophils. Chromophores do not have granules, and here the granules are there. Because of the absence of the granule, these chromophobes, they are less darkly stained, and these chromophils, because of the granules, they will be highly staining. Both this type of the cells, they are approximately equal in amount. These chromophils, they having basically two types of cells. Some type of the cells, they are acidophils. They stain pink, while other cells are basophils. They stain blue in color. Now these acidophils having two types of the cells which secrete the mammotropes, and some cells, some vesicles will secrete the somatotrope. These mammotropes, they are responsible for the secretion of the prolactin, and the somatotropes, they will secrete the growth hormone. Now these basophils, which are actually going to stain bluish in color, it is further secreting the three types of the tropes. These are the gonadotropes, which secretes FSH and LH, that is follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. Thyrotropes, which is going to secrete the thyroid stimulating hormone, and corticotropes, which is going to secrete adrenocorticotropic hormone. So all these are the cells which are responsible for the secretion of the efferent releasing as well as the inhibitory factor by the anterior pituitary. And out of this, the acidophils, they are going to secrete the mammotropes as well as the somatotropes. The mammotropes will secrete the prolactin, and this prolactin will act upon the breast, while this growth hormone, it is the overall growth of a person. It is concerned with the overall growth of a person. These basophils, they are responsible for the formation of the gonadotropes, thyrotropes, as well as the corticotropes. The gonadotropes, they secrete the FSH and LH, which is responsible for the follicle stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone. And this thyrotropes, they are responsible for the thyroid stimulating hormone, which is going to act upon the thyroid gland. And these corticotropes, they are responsible for formation of the ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, which is going to act upon the adrenal gland. And these two will act upon the gonads. When we talk about the posterior pituitary, it secretes two hormones. One is the oxytocin and one is vasopressin. Other name of the vasopressin, it is antidiuretic hormone. This oxytocin, it is going to be secreted by the paraventricular nucleus of the hypothalamus, and this vasopressin, it is going to be secreted by the supraoptic nucleus of hypothalamus. So this posterior pituitary do not secrete any hormone, but this posterior pituitary, it is only the intermediate which is responsible for transportation of the oxytocin as well as vasopressin or antidiuretic hormone, which is secreted by paraventricular nucleus and supraoptic nucleus of the hypothalamus respectively. This oxytocin will act upon the breast as well as the uterus, and this vasopressin, it will act upon the distal convoluted tubule as well as the collecting duct of the kidney. Okay, so posterior pituitary, it is actually a continuation of the nervous part of the hypothalamus, and that's why it is neurohypophysis. So this neurohypophysis do not have any separate cells which are responsible for production of any hormones, but they are responsible for carrying the hormones which are secreted within the hypothalamus. So within the hypothalamus, there are two nuclei. There are so many nuclei are there, but concerned with the posterior pituitary, there are two nuclei. There is supraoptic nucleus and one is paraventricular nucleus, and both these nuclei will release the hormone that is oxytocin as well as this nuclei. This is a supraoptic nucleus and this is the paraventricular nucleus. This paraventricular nuclei, it releases the oxytocin as well as this supraoptic nuclei will release the vasopressin. These neurons are approximately 1 lakh in number and they are unmyelinated, and they will reach posterior pituitary where along with one protein that is called as a neurophysin. It is bounded by with one protein that is called as a neurophysin, and at the terminal portion it is going to collect and forming the bulging that is called as a herring body. Whenever the requirement is there, this herring body will release the hormone into the fenestrated capillaries which are present within the posterior pituitary. So within the plexus of a posterior pituitary, which is actually formed by the inferior hypophyseal artery, which is a branch of the cavernous part of the internal carotid artery. And these hormones will be released inside the capillary tufts and it will be drained into the circulation. Anterior pituitary, it is going to be supplied mainly by the superior hypophyseal artery. So this is the superior hypophyseal artery, and This superior hypophyseal artery will supply the infundibulum also, as well as the median eminence also. Within the median eminence, one arcuate nucleus is there, and this arcuate shaped nucleus will connect the neurons within the pars tubralis, and within the pars tubralis there are tufts of the capillaries they are going to form, and this tufts of the capillaries, that is the primary capillary plexus, and from this neuron the releasing factors they are going to release, they are getting within this capillary plexus, and from this capillary plexus the smaller venules they are going to form, and these venules they are going to carry this releasing factors to the pars distalis, that is the anterior pituitary pars anterior, and within here they will form one more capillary plexus, and this is the secondary capillary plexus, and through this secondary capillary plexus the releasing factors they are going to drain into the capillary fenestrated capillaries and to the circulation. So this interconnection between the two capillary tufts, primary and secondary capillary plexus, that vein, it is called as hypothalamo hypophyseal portal system, and the tract which is going to be formed by this neurons of the hypothalamus, that is called as a hypothalamo hypophyseal tract.